Hey everybody, Kirk Junge here from LearningGolf.tv. Today, comparing the single plane golf swing to the conventional golf swing, I get a lot of questions about what the differences are in the methods. There are a few different ways to do the single plane golf swing, or people who are teaching the single plane golf swing out there. However, most of them are not teaching you to move the club on a single plane, which I know it sounds kind of strange. It is to me as well. Bryson DeChambeau, if you look at him, you'll see that he is moving the club on very close to a single plane throughout the entire golf swing. And I say very close because if you use a laser and say exact, and nobody's exact, but it's trying to stay as close to on the same plane on the backswing, the downswing, and through impact into the finish as possible. And the closer that you get to that, the more success and the easier it is going to be, obviously, to hit great golf shots. Talking a little bit here about the plane, if you want to have the easiest explanation, if you could say this golf club is laying on a countertop here or on a bar, and when I move it to stay on the same plane, it's going to stay in contact, the shaft, the whole way. So this is moving on one plane all the way back and through. So in the conventional golf swing, however, the club starts here and it's very quickly on a different plane at the top, and then it comes back down, and somewhere in here it ends up on a steeper plane than through impact. Those trying to copy the Mo Norman golf swing, what's very interesting there, the club goes back under the plane, so it will run into the counter, and then it comes back up onto the plane, and then the concept is then they want you coming again under the plane and then back into impact, and somehow magically you're supposed to swing through in the proper direction, which in my experience doesn't work very well for most people. So that swing has you going underneath the plane and up, and what I see most people are way from underneath the plane and then end up flipping it with their hands. So what I like to do in the single plane swing then is simply set up on my impact plane with the wrists in an uncocked position like this, versus conventional golf where you're here. So once I'm set up, I'm in this position, and then all I'm trying to do is to move the club back on the same plane and swing down the plane and finish on that same plane. Whereas conventionally, it looks more like this. It goes back, and then it's up here, and then a lot of people drop in, and most players are on about 15 different planes throughout the swing. Other differences in the setup are simple to understand. The trailing arm, and this is most all single plane instructors that I've seen teach a non-rotational trailing arm position, which is goes all the way back over 25 years ago, where they taught a 45-degree rotation in the arm before putting it on the hand. So it's basically that, slide it in, so the arm is in a position that's pre-rotated, or it's actually in a good impact position where it's not going to have to rotate to square the club face. So we would call that a non-rotational setup position, versus conventional, where a lot of conventional instructors have you put the hands on like this. The problem is then there's rotation in the backswing, and then to hit the ball, you need to again rotate the hand and arm to square the club face. So this pronation is what it's called. I like to say rotation because it's easier for most people to understand. This rotation makes it difficult to be consistent. Obviously, if we're able to do this motion here is non-rotational, and so I'm going to put my hands on the club in that position, and then throughout the swing I do not have to have any arm rotation in order to square up the club face. The leading arm is going to have rotation. The trailing arm, because it folds on the backswing, is able to maintain that non-rotational position, while the leading arm goes through pronation and supination. So setting up on your impact plane with the wrists uncocked, and then the non-rotational position is a main part of the swing and the most important. From there, you're free to customize the motion. I do not want you restricting any body motion A lot of the people trying to copy Mo are actually moving down into impact because of the extreme distance that they have you stand from the ball at setup. This makes it very difficult, if not impossible, to generate club head speed, and the fact that trying to keep the feet planted in the ground will also reduce club head speed. But from my experience and what I've seen at their schools, people struggle with accuracy, good impact, and distance simply because of that, trying to stay bent as opposed to turning. So there's no reason to reinvent everything here single plane. For me, set up on your impact plane, the arms in a non-rotational position. We're going to move the hips a little bit forward, which is closer to where you need to be at impact. There's a little bit more tilt at setup. So from my experience over 20 years teaching the method, the big mistake that's made by most instructors that I've seen is trying to overcomplicate things or try to make it too different from conventional golf. A lot of research has been done on what creates power in the golf swing. So ground forces are one of the biggest producers of club head speed, and that's how we use the legs. If you restrict that in the golf swing, you're going to lose speed. So I just like to set up on the impact plane and then use my body effectively, turn back, turn through, and hit great golf shots. Keeping things as simple as possible, using what you've already learned in your golf game to help you improve as quickly as possible, not work on it for 5 years and hope to improve by trying to copy someone else. Use what you have, set up in your impact plane. It's easier. Swing on that same plane or as close as you can. Some people will be a little bit off. That's fine as long as you're consistent. And then you can spend your time working on improving the impact position, which is the same for any golf swing anyway. You want to get golf clubs that fit, and from there you should see the simplicity here of a single plane is just that versus the conventional swing, which is on a lot of different planes. Obviously the guys doing it that you see on TV become very good at it through hitting millions and millions of golf shots. Most of us don't have that time, and if you don't start as a kid, you're probably never going to learn it anyway. So visit my website at learninggolf.tv for more information on my online lesson program, my upcoming schools and private lessons. And please subscribe here on YouTube and like this video. Thank you very much and have a great day.